Hey, everybody. For those of you just starting out, also for those of you who've been at it like myself for a long time, it's often good to go back to basics. And I was reminded of that this evening. I was listening to one of my favorite bands with my son, The Band. One of the great things about the band is that they are classified as roots rock. They go back to the roots of rock music, and they take from many different disciplines. This is why they're so well loved, and even 50 plus years later, they're so well regarded for the kind of music they put out. But we're here to talk about investing, and what I like to do when I'm thinking about going back to the roots is you go back to good old good old Benjamin Graham and his greatest student, Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett has said, and I've been lucky enough to be at multiple annual meetings, but he's said so much about just the basics of how your mindset should be and how you should behave to really succeed as an investor, but also in life. And that was a great thing that he and Charlie Munger would always espouse, both the work as an investor, but also the work as a person. So, number one thing, and I'll give you the top 10 takeaways. Number one would be invest in yourself. The importance of investing in your own education, buying books, self-improvement. These things are very important, and that's why I'm happy to have you here, because that's what this is all about. Number two, you really want to understand what you're investing in. Understand what kind of business you're buying, and don't feel bad if your circle of competence, as Buffett likes to talk about, is narrow. People can make fortunes in a single business. In the stock market, of course, there is the encouragement to be diversified, because you're never going to be able to control the company necessarily. But having a narrow focus is not a bad thing when that narrow focus includes things you understand very well, and most importantly, excludes things you don't. Number three is focus on long-term value, right? I think that the market across my career, but always, and I've been at this for nearly 30 years, the market tends to be very short-term focused, and therein lies the advantage for people like us, people like Buffett, who focus on long-term value drivers, right? I mean, we're not here to make money over an infinite period of time. That's not what this is about. But focusing less on the quarter and the monthly statistics, and more on what actually builds a durable competitive advantage, is why maybe 25 years ago you would have listened to a Jeff Bezos as opposed to dismissing the concept of selling books online. Perhaps understanding that there's value in the market right now, which is being dismissed because people are so short-term oriented they can't see past the next interest rate hike or interest rate cut, and that's one of the things that part three talks about: focus on long-term value. Number four, invest in quality companies. Now, this is, by definition, qualitative, right? What is a quality company? The definitions include strong fundamentals, solid earnings, good management, competitive advantages, the moat. These are the things that in your checklist, which you should have a checklist, you should be ticking off and saying, at the margin, I'd rather invest in a quality company. Number five, patience. Buffett always talks about being patient. In fact, Munger said it best, where he said, sit on your ass investing is the kind that he likes to do, right? So patience is important. And just as an anecdote, listening to a podcast today, Founders, which I love and you should listen to, Founders discussion of how Sam Walton, of Walmart fame, who created $250 billion in wealth for his family, was patient. It took him 20 years to develop what ultimately was the business model for Walmart. So consider that. Number six, avoid debt. Okay, you're not a professional. I'm assuming, and even as a professional investor, certainly as an amateur investor or somebody trying to do it yourself, try to avoid taking on too much debt, both in your personal and in investment life. Margin can cut both ways, and as they've more eloquently put than I'm going to say. Margin can make people look very smart on the way up, but debt can also make you look very stupid if you don't do it right. So best to avoid it if you don't understand exactly what you're doing. Margin of safety is number 7. Okay, I would put that as potentially even higher than that. I mean, these are in no specific order. These are just things that I kind of put out there. But margin of safety, the 3 most important words in investing. You need to figure out a quantitative and often qualitative margin of safety when buying a stock, or else it will come back to haunt you. Discipline is very important. Stay disciplined. Stick to the approach that you're building, either with me or with your own work. But create checklists. Create not super rigid valuation measures, because that there is art to that. But have a discipline that you stick to and build upon. Number 9. Reinvest your profits. The magic of compounding, right? The 8th wonder of the world was what Albert Einstein allegedly called it. If you continue to reinvest your profits, it will pay off rather than spending them wantonly, right? And then the final piece is you do want to stay informed. I mean, Buffett is a voracious reader of newspapers. The Munger was called a walking book, by a book with legs, I think is what his kids reportedly called him. You want to stay informed about what's going on, not just in your stocks, but also in the general economy and in the market. But by the same token, don't overreact, right? I mean, take into account the fact that you understand what you're investing in, right? Number 2, and number 3, you're focusing on long-term value. So the short-term noise or that comes often in the form of, in the disguise of news, can throw you off, right? It can keep you out of being disciplined. Pay attention to it. You don't want to be blindsided, but in the same token, focus on the long term. News can be important, but oftentimes there's overreaction, so do not overreact. That's all for now. We could write entire books, and entire books have been written on the subject of Buffett's ideas, but these are 10 that I put together for you, and I hope you enjoy them.